Hello, and you're all very welcome along to the latest Champ.ie podcast, Ireland's premier horse racing podcast in association with Boylesports, Gowran Park Racecourse, EJ Menswear and Shamrock Thoroughbreds.
Lossymouth slowly coming through, takes it up now as they approach the last. Lossymouth at the last, got over it well, landed with 2 lengths, make it 3, tell me something girl, Hispanic Moon behind her, but in the closing stages, a second Festival victory. Lossymouth and Poultown end have won the Close Brothers. Second Nergamine, who's cantering to victory as he comes to the last. He's up and over safely, 6 lengths clear. Captain Guinness in second, Editor Duchit in third, Grenadine and Edwardstone just getting over the final fence. Nothing was a match today for Nergamine. He's absolutely bolted up.
If you haven't already, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the Champ.ie YouTube channel, as it helps to get horse racing content out there to the wider audience. Barry and Co look forward to discussing your latest hashtag Cheltenham Ante-Post selections in the comment section below. We are on the road to Cheltenham again.
Boylesports. Don't just bet, choose wisely.
Yes, so we're on the road to Cheltenham again, of course. Cheltenham 2025 on the horizon. We're counting down, of course, in association with Gowran Park Racecourse, of course. Boylesports, our betting partner, EJ Menswear and the Shamrock Thoroughbreds. This time the turn of the man, the myth, the legend, Richie Condon, of course, Cheltenham Festival winning jockey, of course. Heaven help us, Richie, gave you a fantastic day back in 2021. That must have been a day to remember.
Hi Barry, how are things? Thanks for having me. Yeah, sure. Look, it was it's what everyone knows me for nowadays. It was a few years ago now, but no, a day I'll never forget.
Let's relive that day in 2021. Of course, heaven help us, to ride a winner at the Cheltenham Festival must be fantastic. But to ride one for Paul Hennessy, a great character. I was speaking to him in the Lower Bagnall, of course, after Tiesta's day. He was reliving it to me. Now give us your account. What a day it was.
No, obviously, we're in the height of COVID, so there wasn't much. Obviously, there was no crowd there, which probably played for my strengths. I didn't get too nervous beforehand, obviously, with the buzz of the crowd and whatnot. But I'll never forget going down to the start. I ended up being, what there was, 25, 28 runners in it. And I was last down to the start, and I was obviously, the instructions were to make the running more or less. And I going down to the start, and I was looking at the practice hurdle, and I could already see there was nearly 25 lads lined up in a line to make the running. So I said, how am I going to slot in here? And I was beside Brian Cooper looking at the practice hurdle, and I said to Brian, Brian, listen, I'm trying to try and make the run here. He said, he said to me, Rich, line up and wide outside. Left hand, he said, left hand down. He said, if you call a false start, so be it. And as it turned out, I ended up causing 3 or 4 false starts. But I got away in front anyway, and the rest is history. Yeah.
This is the first section of the show, East India Dock. Let's kick off. 5 stars. For me, we're just speaking off air. The horse that beats this horse in the Triumph Hurdle would want to be a fair animal, wouldn't it? Yeah,
exactly. Listen, it strongly deserves the 5-star rating. It was ultra competitive, impressive. Like, you know, he travels, he jumps, he's so economical jumping. He just gets from A to B so quickly, and especially for me as well, the race at Cheltenham 2 days ago, that was on the new course over a strong 2-mile one, which the Triumph in March will be on the new course. So listen, yeah, whoever beats this horse will win the Triumph.
5-star rating. Obviously, Nicky Henderson unleashed a Lalamba, not this weekend, the previous weekend, and we give it 5-star ratings. But I think if you could give this horse a 6-star, Richie, you're responsible for the 5. But I mean, it was just so, you mentioned how uncomplicated this horse is and how good he is to jump, stamina assured, and has a fair rating as well. I think it was 89 rated on the flat. James Owen, very much a trainer to be respected as well. I don't personally see a horse beating this one in the Triumph.
No, he's very shrewd, and Sam Twiston-Davis, all his interviews before and afterwards, you know, he loves this horse. He really gets on with this horse. He's a bond with this horse, and I say he can put him anywhere at all in the race. He'll jump, he'll travel, and he'll give him the question going down to the last, and yeah, he'll power up that hill.
Rocky's Diamond. Now, we were I suppose, down in Gowran on Thursday, Goffs TS Day, and this Rocky's Diamond, a real improver, 3 from 6 now over hurdles. And I suppose the one thing about Rocky's Diamond, we don't really know where the ceiling is, but it will be a step up in the stairs, Richie. Talk us through. You've only given it 3 stars, the Dequili Rocky's Diamond, but seems to be continuing to improve.
Yeah, no, listen, at the end of the day, he's been very well canvassed by Declan and his team at home. He's only 5-year-old. We've got to remember he's only 5, and 6 runs, 3 wins, and he had a great run in Leopardstown the time before. So listen, it was no shock to anyone to see this horse win the Galmoy last Thursday, and full credit. Like he took up the running with a circuit to go, and from the third last home, he was a sitting duck. He had targets on his back from the third last to the home, and he fended them all off.
Richie, on to Dancing City. Now, I know this was at Naas on Sunday, and, Willie Mullins, from a Brown advisory perspective this season, he looks stocked. Will we see Ballyburn up to 3 miles at the back end of the season? Obviously, Lecky Watson unbeaten 2 from 2. And Dancing City now, a 3-time Grade 1 winner over hurdles, 2 from 2 over fences, a point-to-point winner. You've given this a 5-star rating, Richie.
Yeah, and as well, he thoroughly deserves a 5-star rating. He went out there, he jumped incredible. He made all 3 mile 1 on heavy ground around Naas. That's not easy, and especially we have to give credit to the runner up, Boylesports, Gowran Park filly. Like that was an unbelievable run from her. And after the back of the last, Dancing City put her to bed easy enough. He only. For Paul,
he's lazy, Richie, isn't he? He's lazy.
I say he's a dream ride, really, because those staying chasers, you don't want them over jumping or taking energy out of their jumps early on in the race. So he pop away in the last half mile of the race when things are starting to get to the business end. He'll have all the energy saved and he'll be there.
Probably done his best work, Richie, from inside the last 150 yards, and really pulled out more. I mean, he idled at Punchestown on his first start over fences, but makes a good shape over a fence. And have to agree. I mean, but Bioluminescence, as you mentioned, she was given weight. That was some performance with a view to the mare's chase, you'd have to think. Yeah,
no, definitely, no. She's an incredible mare. But going back to Dancing City, he improves as the year goes on. We saw it last year. He improved the whole way out through the year, and I think we're only going to see him improving again this year. Cheltenham Entry again. He's going to be. He obviously Brown advisory. You have the likes of Ballyburn. He might turn up. The Jukebox Man. Dancing City beat Jukebox Man last year in Aintree, but obviously Jukebox Man has really done well this year with fences. But no, it'll be a great race.
They're kind of different type of horse, aren't they? It's a Jukebox Man, kind of enthusiastic, makes lengths at all his fences. 2.5 miles, you wouldn't be afraid to see him if the old Turners was still in there. You wouldn't be afraid to see the Jukebox Man maybe back in trip. Whereas Dancing City, almost the complete opposite, isn't he? Relaxes. Economical with his jumping and tends to do his best work at the finish.
Exactly. Yeah. No, he's a dream ride for any jockey.
Look, Le Homme Press. I mean, just looking at the performance, I suppose, of the horse and the race, I suppose the opposition in there. I mean, he was 4th in a Gold Cup in 2024. He was 3rd in the King George, obviously 12 lengths beaten behind Banbridge. People are going to be probably throwing stones at the screens here if they're Le Homme Press fans, Richie. I've only given this performance a 2-star rating, and certainly with a view to Cheltenham. I think he's a stone plus off, the top level. He's 10 years of age. He's not getting any younger. To me, he looked the winner the whole way around in the Cotswolds Chase. But I mean, it was almost a veterans chase. You had Chantry House still in contention, coming down to the third last.
Gentleman's Game. I don't know, would he prefer the small but softer? He didn't really perform either. So no, look, but a great training performance, because this horse, he hasn't been easy to train. He has his old problems throughout his racing career, but no, he was entitled to win the race.
You're getting £4 off Stage Star over 3 miles in the Cotswolds Chase. You have to be winning. And I know Liddy Hislop said afterwards, I think the comments on Racing TV, he's won that a shade snug. he's going to need to improve, and I'm not sure he still is. So, 2 stars for me. I'm going to be harsh on Lahan Press. Cowabunga, obviously in the maiden hurdle at Fairyhouse. I thought this was probably the standout performance over the weekend in terms of maiden hurdle winners in Ireland. And Cowabunga, 4-star rating. I thought it was rock solid. I think does his best work at the finish. Cowabunga, a good second to Coped de Boer at Leperson. We didn't see much of it, Richie, because we had very bad fog on that occasion. But
no, he super. And do you know what? I'll actually put that down and saying that I think himself and William Money, who he beat, those 2 horses, they drew a long ways clear. And I think that made those 2 horses, they'll go on to win grade ones. Like that, at the time of that race, I think it was 3:51. That was an incredible time for the ground and the day that was in it. They're 2 very smart horses.
Probably set up for a fast time as well, Richie, given the fact that they went hard enough early. There was plenty of competition for the league. Cocktail Diva was in there. What did you make of his run?
Yeah, listen, a good solid run. He backed up his Leopardstown run. But the 2 lads up the front, they did sprint away from him going into the last and home. William Money, he was chomping at the bit there with Finney early on. So I think those 2 horses, I was really impressed with them, yeah.
Sixmilebridge. We had Ben Pauling on the show leading up to the Cheltenham Festival last season in one of our videos, Richie, and he was quite complimentary of Sixmilebridge heading for the champion bumper. I'm not sure, did he have wind surgery over the course of the summer? He did transfer stables to Fergal O'Brien. And look, 3.5-star ratings. I thought it was a good performance. It looked a deep enough grade 2 heading into it, with obviously Potter's Charm going off at a short price favourite. You had obviously the John Joe O'Neill runner in the race, Bill Joyce as well. Ran okay for a long while in the Challow.
Yeah.
But in terms of the performance, what did you make of it?
I thought it was very solid. Like the whole way through the race, your eyes was drawn to Sixmilebridge because he travelled so strongly, and from the back of the second last to the last, your eyes were still drawn to Sixmilebridge. Potter's Charm, he might have gave his punters half a chance going down to the last, but no, he was never really catching Sixmilebridge, was he?
He wasn't, and I wonder, is it very much bubble burst? I mean, some of the comments afterwards from the Twiston Davis camp.
Yeah, obviously, they were saying going into it, a lot of the pundits, why was he running? Obviously, I think that was his fifth run for the season. But listen, he lost nothing in defeat. They'll, I'm sure they will get him back for Cheltenham in top nick.
Have to disagree with you. I thought he lost plenty in defeat, and with a view to a Turners, couldn't have him whatsoever, to be honest. Sixmilebridge, look, he was well beaten in the champion bumper last season, but he's 3-4 over hurdles now, and thought the jumping was good. Obviously, Keelan Woods, kudos to him, got the breeders in at the right time, and he's lengthened all the way up the hill. So, if there was a breeding issue there last season, it didn't appear to be this time, Richie.
Yeah, no. In fairness, no, it was rock solid. The one question I would have, if the ground did turned up yielding maybe good at the festival, I don't know, would he really go on it? But obviously he's on proof on that ground as well.
Yes, so hello, Barry Doyle from the Champ.ie podcast, Ireland's Pony Horse Racing podcast. I'm here with my co-host David Burns, and we're here in Sligo Town, David, in EJ Menswear and EJMenswear.com. Fantastic season ahead. EJ has kindly partnered up with us to be the men's fashion partner with Champ.ie for the season. And David, we're suited and booted. You're looking sharp.
Yeah, well, thanks very much. And this fantastic bundle and this outfit we're wearing is costing $2.99. It sets you up beautifully for the racing season ahead, which includes Leopardstown at Christmas, Tiestes Day at Gowran Park, and of course, if you want to go even bigger, you can get togged out for the Cheltenham and entry festivals later on in the season.
Absolutely, and of course, check out the Champ.ie podcast right throughout the season, Mondays and Thursdays, and look at the offer, the tailored bundle for the racing season, $2.99, blazer, shirt, chino, socks and shoes. What's not to like, lads? Check out EJMenswear.com. We must mention, of course, Red Mills Day as well is on the horizon. Tiestes Day. What a day it was down at Gowran Park, Richie. But on Saturday the 15th of February, of course, Red Mills Race Day, the Red Mills Hurdle, Red Mills Chase. We'll be building up to, of course, all things Red Mills Day down at Gowran Park on the channel, all the way up until Saturday the 15th of February. But as of this morning, 9 a.m, of course, you can register now for your free tickets online, and the full details on the Gowran Park website, www.gowranpark.ie. And thanks again to the lads at EJ Menswear for their, of course, kind offer on the tailored bundle, and of course the winter bundle as well, still available with the guys down in Sligo. But Richie, I suppose next section of the show, tracker horses. I suppose you did mention to me off air you're quite impressed with Cafe, Answer Cafe.
Yeah. No, I thought he won very well yesterday. Listen, I didn't think he deserved a mark of 130 either. I thought he was thrown in off that mark. He's a proper horse and a proper staying chaser as well. So lots to I'd be keeping an eye out on him going forward, especially when he steps up over fences to 3 miles.
Boylesports. Don't just bet, choose wisely.
Next section of the show, we're going to take a look at the big race. Of course, every single week on the show, we're going to build up to a big race at the Cheltenham Festival. And this time, the turn of the Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle. We did the 3 mile chase division, I suppose, novice chase division last week on the show. And with the Dublin Racing Festival on the horizon, I'm sure we're going to get plenty of clues with a view to of course, Thurlers and the Supreme. But the Albert Bartlett, what do you make of the race as a whole at the moment?
Yeah, no, the Yellow K, he definitely deserves to be at the top of the market, and that performance in the Laurels really showboated him, and no, he deserves to be up there. But my fancy for the race is the second favourite, the Big Westerner. She's only after 2 runs this year, but she's done nothing but improve. She won that grade 2 down in Limerick at Christmas time very easily, and getting the £7 off the lads as well. That's going to be big advantage come March.
Richie, just doing the stats over the last, I suppose, 10 seasons, we've actually only had 3 mares to have run in the race. But sibling, of course, of the Big Westerner was, of course, a winner of the race a couple of seasons ago. Stay Away Face. So Stamina, you have to think very much her forte.
Yeah, exactly. She came from the point scene from Matthew O'Connor and Darrell Keefe. He's after riding her now both times. He knows her well. He's a lot of good positives to say about her. So, yeah, listen, she's 7-1 there. She should be bang there.
Well, we'll look at the portfolios later on in the show, Richie, because she would be my selection for the race as well at this stage. And I think it's 25-1. We have her in the team sheet already. So that's music to my ears. So you're rolling in with the Big Westerner. I mentioned as well for Sounds Victorious, Richie. And the horse was second to Sounds Victorious as well. 1 for the tracker for Eddie Cawley. I think that won't be long before it's winning. Come Walk With Me. But Sounds Victorious, 20-1 in the market. Looks to have the right type of profile, and I wouldn't be surprised if it actually places, because I'm going to tell you the winner, then Nathaniel Lacey, very, very shortly. But wouldn't be surprised if it placed that in the Dublin Racing Festival and went on to run a massive race. 20-1, if there was one at a big price, that Sounds Victorious, Richie.
Yeah.
Could possibly be that horse. Yeah, the next section of the show is, of course, our viewer question segment. And Kevin Regan, a good follower of the show and runs the Left Wing Back podcast, of course, famous for their GAA content, but also likes the racing as well. Question for the lads: over the past decade, rank your favourite Cheltenham Festival winners from 1 to 5. I'd be disappointed, Richie, if Heaven Help Us isn't number 1 for you.
Oh, she definitely is. She's up on the top of the list for sure, and she'll I think she'll always be there.
What have you gone with? So ranking from 1 to 5.
So I did go with Heaven Help Us number 1. So she speaks for herself. Number 2, our Connor 2013 Triumph Hurdle. That would put the hair standing up in your back. That would be that. Brian Cooper obviously motionless there turning in, and he just went further and clear, and that was very impressive.
So that's number 2 for you. What about number 3, Richie?
Number 3 was Don Cossack in his Gold Cup win. That was he was a horse that obviously he had so much potential, and a great horse, and another actually great ride from Brian Cooper.
Number 4 for you?
Jeski. I'm going back to 2014 now to the Champion Hurdle. He beat my 10 to yours by a neck. Barry Geraghty was on him that day, gave him an absolute, he lifted him home, and that was a great race.
And number 5 for you, Richie?
Finally, I went with Lord Windermere, David Russell, another masterclass from out the back, crept away, and great training performance from Jim Clotty.
Well, I'm going to give you in order. So we'll start with number 5. And I suppose I have to say this mare was probably one of the most underrated mares for me in training. And still to this day, I was a massive, massive fan of Vroom Vroom Mag. And when she got her big day, of course, at the Cheltenham Festival, she was brilliant over fences, brilliant over hurdles, but won the mare's hurdle, of course, back in 2016. So Vroom Vroom Mag, I'm going to put that in at number 5 for myself, Richie. Thistlecrack, that has to be number 4. I mean, he was in a completely different league in 2016, should I say, in the Stairs hurdle. Yeah. In a completely different league. I think it was Alpha the Zobo for the Mouse was second on that occasion, but he pulled lengths and lengths clear. Tom Scudamore on board for the Tizzards, and he was really, really good on that particular day. And number 3, look, I'm going to go with actually the Mark Bradstock trained Cody Gree. I thought it was a massive performance as a novice, I suppose, in the Cheltenham Gold Cup. With the Tiestes, of course, winner back in second, Jack Adam. It was a really dour performance, took it up, jumped for fun on the occasion, handled the ground as well. For a novice, I thought it was a really good performance back in 2015. That was a personal favourite. And Energumene, look, obviously 2 champion chases. Hopefully he'll make it number 3 this season. Not giving up just yet, Richie, but I think his first champion chase. I know Shishkin pulled up early in the contest, but I think the more rain that fell that day, the more you thought Energumene was going to get the job done. Loves the testing ground, and we were singing in the rain, I suppose, in Cheltenham back in 2022, and that to me was a brilliant performance. His second champion chase was arguably probably a better performance, but for me, 2022 stands out. And the number 1 performance for me.
Tom really enjoyed that one, actually, didn't he? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, look, I think halfway up the second champion chase, I think the smiles on Paul's face, and hopefully this horse can go and be very, very competitive in a third champion chase. I think he can, provided the ground isn't too quick. Vautour, look at his JLT win back in 2015. That to me was probably the most memorable novice chase performance I've ever seen around Cheltenham, and I think that was possibly the closest thing we've seen to Kato Star on a racecourse. It was just brilliant on that occasion, and so sad we didn't see him in a Cheltenham Festival Gold Cup. Richie Vautour, what a horse he was.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
Boylesports, don't just bet, choose wisely.
Yes, the most important section of the show, it is, of course, the Cheltenham Festival selections for week number 7. And Richie Condon, I suppose when I knew you were coming on the show, and I suppose I did ask you for a selection on this episode, I think you texted me back last night saying I have it at a massive price. So take it away, your Ante-Post pick for the series.
Yeah, my Ante-Post pick for Cheltenham is in the Ryanair chase, Jungle Boogie. Henry de Bromhead again. I think this horse is absolutely tailor-made for the race. Darrell Keefe up on him. This race will cut up now, Barry. He's 11-year-old, but he's only after 7 runs, and he's after winning 5 of them. This horse might come in under the radar, and really, I can't really see him getting beat.
Yeah, so Richie, you cannot see it getting beaten. You mentioned the Gold Cup obviously ran the race last year, but you think 2.5 miles is more his bag?
Yeah, no, 100%. Listen, he finished out very, very credible 6th in it last year. But if you look back at the race, this horse was still on the bridle coming down to the second last. He just didn't stay. He the 2.5 mile around Cheltenham is really suited him. Going left-handed as well. He jumps small but slightly left the whole time, which obviously you could see in Ascot the last time. But that was 2.5 the last day in Ascot, and he took off up the straight in Ascot. So he runs really well fresh as we know. So yeah, I really like him.
And I suppose just looking at the race as a whole, obviously you'd be looking at the likes of Factor File. You'd be hoping maybe he doesn't he runs well and goes to the Cheltenham Festival Gold Cup. Contenders up against him. Protectorate was good obviously at Windsor last week, won the race last season. Envo Allen obviously won this race in the past, but do you see any potential dangers to, who do you think is the biggest danger to him at this stage?
I suppose going on the Windsor run, it would have to be the Skeleton horse. You know, he bounced out and he went to gallop. But again, I think that will draw into the strengths of Jungle Boogie, because he over a real strong 2.5 miles, he sees it out great. And yeah, if Skeleton opts to bounce out and go gallop, that will even play into our strength more.
2 questions. What do you think are his biggest strengths, Jungle Boogie? And second of all, how's he been at home since the run last time?
Yeah, so his strengths is he jumps and travels. He keeps it simple. He's up in the van. He jumps and travels. That's his strength. And at home, I actually saw him this morning. He looks $1 million. Yeah, they do a great job down there looking after him, and no, he looks $1 million.
Richie, my selection for week number 7 on the road to Cheltenham Challenge. Let's get on with it. Final Demand. I think this is what you call a specimen of a racehorse, and I'm going to go with the Turners. A little bit of Willie Mullins bingo here. Obviously, a shorter price for the Albert Barter. We're going to see him in the Nathaniel Lacey, of course, Novices Hurdle this weekend at the Dublin Racing Festival. 2 of the last 4 Nathaniel Lacey winners actually went to the Turners, so it doesn't definitely mean if a horse wins at the Dublin Racing Festival over 2.6 that they're going to go to the Barta. I think this fella has a lot more class and pace than people are giving him credit for. And I thought, look, he absolutely demolished them, didn't he? Down at Limerick over the Christmas. Danny Mullins on board. His comments afterwards, this horse has loads of class and pace. And, I suppose look at the form of that particular maiden hurdler. He's demolished them by 15 lengths. The second and the third have both come out and won. And the fourth on that occasion placed in a bumper at Ferryhouse at the weekend. So I suppose the big thing with Final Demand is looking at the race itself, the Turner's novice. I think his biggest strength is the way he gallops, the way he travels, and the way he jumps. And I think if Team Mullins let him rock and roll, I could just see him up there on the pace of the Turners. He'll jump, he attacks his hurdles, and he'll stay there. Yeah, I think he's a very good horse. I think he's a very good horse, Rich. Yeah,
and another horse after coming out of Mahi Flynn O'Connor's, and he'll definitely know his job, even though he's only after running it twice.
I think we're going to see a bold show at the Dublin Racing Festival, and I'm taking the double figures, I suppose, for the Turners, Richie, 12-1, enhanced out from 10-1, and you'll see, I suppose, both Richie and my selection, both enhanced on the Boylesports website under the Champ.ie a price boost. So portfolios today, Rich, might get your thoughts on a couple of the selections. Stencil for the Triumph for myself, that was week 1. I think it's more likely the Boodles after the weekend. 11-1, an Ergamine Champion Chase. Look, that's still alive. The Big Westerner, I was right, 25-1, Rich.
Yeah, great show. That was a super shout.
And what about Birdie or Bus? More likely Grand Annual, do you think?
I don't really know, to be honest. But listen, she's a top class mare in her own right, yeah.
Lossy Mouth, what's your view on the Champion Hurdle at this stage in the team sheet at 9-4? Will she reverse form with Constitution Hill?
No, I can't see anything beating Constitution Hill, unfortunately.
Okay, portfolio. Continuation here, Caroline Bamboo, yet to see it, of course, after placing at Nason debut. That's still up in the air. Lecky Watson, 16-1 for the Brown Advisory. In contention, do you think, Richie?
Yeah, most certainly. But after this weekend, it'd be hard to see him beat Danton City, I think.
Final Demand, 12-1 for the Turners. That was the most recent selection. And then from a guest perspective, Brian obviously putting forward Jalan Dadari and Ergamin Tiopu. And Hello Neighbour, what do you think of its chances in the Triumph? 16-1.
16-1 for the Triumph. He could feature in the top 3 for sure. He won. There was a lot of talk about him before he won, and he put it to bed easy enough in the finish.
Next selection, Only by Night, 14-1 for the Mayor's Chase, also trained by Gavin Cromwell. Romeo Coolio, thoughts for the Supreme. Davy Boland's pick last week.
Yeah, obviously Davy big into the Gordon Ayler's camp, and I wish him all the best.
Yeah, so that has been episode number 7 of the Road to Cheltenham Challenge. Richie, fantastic having you on the series, building up the Cheltenham Festival 2025. Brilliant to hear about those memories on Heaven Help Us back in 2021. And of course, all our viewers, make sure to put your selections down below for week number 7 on the Road to Cheltenham Challenge. Get your questions in for next week. Richie, it was a pleasure.
From Dundalk to Longchamp, from the Galway races to the Breeders' Cup, Shamrock Thoroughbreds have taken owners all over the world.
Tiger Bell in front, holds them. Late on the scene is Dawn Charger storming home, but Tiger Bell in front and won.
Coming through in the centre, Laugh a Minute with a strong challenge on this Laugh a Minute, who goes on in the closing stages to win by a length and a half. Laugh a Minute from Fiscal Roots.
But it's Harry's Bar repelling the late challenge of the stable companion Dream Today, and Harry's Bar makes it 6-course wins.
Check out shamrockthoroughbreds.com or click the link in the Champ.ie podcast video description to learn more about new racehorse ownership opportunities.